When you think about it, the paths to our destinations seldom run in a straight line. For this reason, driving almost always requires moving our vehicles around in the traffic flow. Merging into a lane of traffic or changing lanes is something drivers do routinely. As an experienced driver, you have made thousands of successful lane changes and merges. But like it or not, driving is a serious business. Routine maneuvers in traffic can go horribly wrong. People are killed or maimed every day in their vehicles because they fail to learn or use a few easy-to-master advanced merging skills. Well, no matter where in the world you operate your vehicle, and no matter if you drive a bus, a truck, or a smaller vehicle, if you use the information that follows, the payoff could be tremendous. Traffic is congested. Emotions in some vehicles are running high. This guy's in a hurry and he's anxious to move. He sees an opening a little larger than most and he takes it. If the other driver and the ones behind her are attentive, well, it's no big deal. A little stab at their brakes and everyone is still moving. No harm done. Not much margin for error, but everything worked out. Just a harmless move we see many times every day. Maybe this time. But drivers usually have patterns of activity, and if this driver acts this way consistently, as our evaluations of driver behavior suggest he probably will, well, he's pushing his luck, and his luck won't hold forever. He is also influencing the safety and the attitudes of others. Well, no matter what type of vehicle you operate, merging and maneuvering safely and properly in the traffic flow involves some simple knowledge and a little planning. When you use the tips that follow, you will substantially cut down the likelihood of being involved in traffic conflict or aggravating other motorists with your actions. Some of these tips will also help you avoid the trouble that thoughtless actions of others could bring your way. First, though, let's quickly cover the 5 keys of the Smith system. These are the tools around which you can build your safety. Key number 1 is aim high in steering. This key encourages people to look at least 15 seconds up the road as they travel. Key 2 is get the big picture. Obtain and maintain a good following distance. Use this space to open up your viewing area to the front, sides, and to the rear. Keep your eyes moving is our 3rd key. Good eye activity keeps your information up to date and accurate. Our 4th key is leave yourself an out. Space is all that insulates you from trouble. If you keep space around you, and if you remain aware of its size and shape, you'll have an out should the unexpected occur. Now, our last key is make sure they see you. This key is about communication among people in the traffic picture. The artful use of your communication equipment can keep you out of trouble. These keys have direct application in helping advanced drivers safely maneuver their vehicles around our road system. There's certainly more, but 3 types of merging and lane changing represent most of the danger people experience when they or someone else changes direction. First, let's look at what happened in one of the opening scenes. This guy was in a hurry. Most of us are at times. But emotion can affect our judgment, and poor judgment can lead to serious mistakes. The judgmental error here was trying to insert a vehicle in spot that it shouldn't have been thrust into. Various versions of this incident occur thousands of times every day. Most of them don't end up in collisions, but many of them do. These are avoidable problems. Here are a couple of ideas to keep you out of trouble in right-angle turning situations.
Key number 4, leave yourself an out, will help you develop a simple solution for a seemingly difficult problem. When you're in a hurry, remember that traffic travels in packs. Though the lines of traffic may seem endless at times, in just a few seconds, a good-sized gap will appear. Wait for it. It'll keep you out of harm's way, and it'll have almost no impact on your day's productivity.
This brings us to the important issue of following distance. When you have proper space in front of you, you have given yourself room to react, room to stop, and the ability to see and anticipate problems in time to easily handle them. But many drivers fear that good following distances encourage less skilled drivers to take advantage of the space they have worked to create. Well, there's some truth to that. Though people demonstrate many degrees of impatience, We have found that gaps between vehicles that grow larger than 5 seconds can be very tempting to those in a hurry.
Don't get us wrong. We are not suggesting inadequate following distances. On the contrary, a good following distance is essential to advanced, safe driving. But a larger space can bait aggressive people who are looking for an opening in dense traffic. A general rule of thumb might be, for smaller vehicles in good weather, to maintain about 4 seconds of space behind the vehicle they are trailing.
In heavy surface street traffic, following distances that remain around 4 to 5 seconds will discourage most people from making rash entries into your lane. If you're driving a truck or a bus, your vehicle's size and weight, as well as weather conditions and other variables, may change the rules somewhat. You're often required to maintain significantly more following distance than smaller vehicles. There's really no safe or responsible alternative for you. Just remember our prior point. Watch for anxious, aggressive, or foolish drivers ahead of you who may attempt to exploit the safety margin that you have provided. Heavy equipment operators see these types of mistakes every day. In today's traffic environment, it may be unavoidable. But highly skilled drivers have learned to anticipate these actions, and their advanced seeing skills enable them to react quickly and appropriately. Let's look at another error you see every day in traffic: weaving. Weaving in and out of traffic is dangerous because it involves several high-risk behaviors. When you observe weaving, you're usually witnessing speeding, tailgating, loss of visibility, lane changing with too little space, and often, though they may not be as visible, attitude, maturity, or emotional issues. These people put us all at risk. For most of them, it's competition, a misplaced feeling of superiority, or maybe they're merely showing off for their passengers or the people around them. For some, it's simply a sense of urgency. Well, most of them, despite all of their moves, end up waiting at lights and then repeating their risky behavior. That often adds to their general aggravation. These are our suggestions. First, of course, don't be among the people who do this. It's dangerous, thoughtless, and it's pointless. As drivers, we have no right to jeopardize others. These people almost always believe they are in control, but thousands of times every year, their selfish misjudgments injure or kill innocent people. When you watch traffic, it's clear that most of us are not the weavers. We are the people the weavers put at risk. Your primary line of defense is to steer clear. First, though, you must be aware of the pending danger. The less observant drivers among us often fail to see the weavers until they're just about to make their moves. That can be a moment. Use keys 2 and 3 here. Scan your mirrors about every 5 to 8 seconds. If you do so, it's unlikely that you will be caught off guard. You can usually see them coming if you watch. The proper way to handle these people is to open up the space ahead of and beside you so they don't have to make a dangerous lane change. Or if you feel it's safer, reduce the space so the would-be intruder is less likely to make a hazardous cut. What you don't want is a tiny opening that leaves no room for mistakes as they make their aggressive moves. If you choose this option, don't do it to spite the offending motorist. Do it because it's the safest option. And be careful. Try to avoid riding in anyone's blind areas for any extended period of time. Remember, these people are often immature, inexperienced drivers. Some of them can be easily aggravated. You don't want to be a party to a road rage incident. When safety permits, just let them go. They can be very hazardous companions. But what about when it's you that must make a lane change? Safety and courtesy are simple to achieve if you do a few things consistently. If you've been using your mirrors steadily, you probably already know if it's safe to make a lane change. You've got plenty of space. But just to be sure, use the smog technique. Signal your move. Mirror. Recheck to be sure. Over shoulder. Glance back to eliminate blind areas. And go, but go slowly. If you give yourself about 4 seconds to complete a lane change, even if you've made a mistake, you allow other people to respond to you. They can sound their horn or get out of your way. It allows you just a little extra margin for error. When you've used the smog procedure properly, you have used all of these keys. Next, let's consider freeway or expressway merging. Now, the risk here is similar to what you might experience with a weaver. But on-ramp merging forces one lane of traffic to combine with another in a pre-designated space. It's not your fault, and it's not their fault.
The issue is that you have a certain amount of lane space to bring vehicles from 2 lanes to 1 lane safely. Sometimes the space is adequate and sometimes it isn't. When slower moving vehicles need to mix with traffic that's moving at higher speed in a small section of real estate, something has to give. What is often called for here is awareness and cooperation.
Awareness because, as the person already occupying the lane that must be merged into, you can often deal with the matter before it ever has a chance to become a problem. Now, depending on the circumstances, you may be able to move into the next lane prior to the on-ramp. Use keys 1, 2, and 4 here. Scan ahead for developing merge situations. Be proactive. When you scan ahead, you can plan ahead. With a consistent 15 seconds of eye lead time, you will seldom be surprised. As before, part of your awareness has to do with good mirror activity. Seeing the problem is a good start, but now you need to begin the problem-solving process. We always recommend having an out. This is clearly one of the benefits of keeping space around your vehicle. Given early warning and a space cushion, you can usually deal with a merging predicament with a simple lane change or by adjusting the accelerator just a little bit. People that don't see problems and don't have a way to escape them when they develop are the people you often see by the side of the road, filling out reports, or worse, being loaded into ambulances. We mentioned cooperation earlier. As we drive, we all need to merge at times, and at times each of us are the people who occupy the lanes into which other people must merge. Perhaps it would be wise to maintain a spirit of cooperation. Some drivers speed up to keep the mergers out. Some won't move over, even though they have the room to do so. Well, these are behaviors that cause unnecessary conflict. If you're driving the vehicle that must merge into another lane, there are a few strategies you can use to keep yourself out of First, use key 2. You need to evaluate as soon as possible what you're going to have to do to make your next merge a successful one. An early glance over your shoulder can often tell you what you're up against. The trick is to synchronize your speed with that of the traffic flow. The more information you have, and the sooner you get started processing it, the better off you're going to be. Now, this is particularly true if your vehicle is large, heavy, or underpowered. Next, use key 5. Always use your turn signals. As you may have noticed, fewer and fewer people use these simple safety devices nowadays, and that's a shame.
Your signals not only send an important directional message, they extend a courtesy. People are more inclined to give others a break when they see that the drivers that need to merge are communicating with them.
All right, your picture is complete, and you have communicated. Now, be prepared to adjust quickly. The people around you may not have the spirit of cooperation we are suggesting, or perhaps they haven't seen you or properly allowed for you to inject your vehicle into the flow. They are occupying the lane you need to get into. If you've planned a safe merge and others can't or won't work with you, be prepared to back off or find another space. Some people, when they have picked a spot to move into, are unwilling to adjust if things don't work as they have planned. And once mentally committed, these drivers will try to force their vehicles into a place that can't safely accommodate them. Quick action may be required. Don't make emotional decisions that you may later regret. When people seem rude, unreasonable, or unaware, just shrug it off. Drivers often take these situations for granted. They shouldn't. Remember, if you do all of the things we have talked about in this presentation, the risks associated with merging and lane changing will be dramatically reduced. Thank you for your time.